a lot of social media feeds and a lot of the videos, they're directed at whether it be a political party or a ethnicity or a specific issue, right? It's just a continuation of um, denunciation or like posing as this is the problem.
Yeah, because it's supposed to. The important thing is to activate an emotional response that
Right.
keeps you, that staves the boredom for a bit and keeps you like more engaged. And so the only thing that gets promoted in these algorithms is stuff which is effective at doing that. So it's going to be more and more radical, less nuanced, more
Right.
all this stuff.
And the reason I brought that up is if you're not talking to people, interacting with others, and actually
Yeah,
experiencing
you
it
think
daily
that's what the
life,
real world is. Yeah,
that's what, when you're just scrolling and you're just thinking, oh, that must be, and you start to kind of form the ideology starts to become your like entire life and the entire
yeah,
world around you. Um,
yeah. It's scary stuff. To be fair, we're only just seeing like the effects of social media on politics more broadly, but it's yeah, it's not good. Not good at all.
Yeah, I think it's related to what we talked about before with like the perception of people in different countries, because it's exactly that. It's this idea that the internet gives us a lot of knowledge, obviously, and it's like easily accessed knowledge. But I think a lot of people just don't also consider the obvious limitations of that knowledge, which is that it doesn't really give you the experiential knowledge, or it doesn't really put you in those scenarios to actually understand everything. And that would be true even if it was trying to be nuanced. But, moreover, it's not trying to be nuanced because of what you said. So it's actually it's it's twice removed most of the time from the actual events it's trying to describe and the actual ideas it's trying to explicate.
Yeah, one thing I was thinking as well with the internet, it's that obviously the internet makes this phenomenon worse because it allows you to actually do it, stay in isolation and not get bored and be entertained. But also, I think another aspect of it exacerbating it is like when you grow up with the internet, it's sort of like you already know everything that's going on in the outside world. You've already got like a decent idea of like a full picture. And like back in the day, you only knew like bits and bobs. You had to actually like interact and find out more about what's going on. This information wasn't easy. So nowadays, I think it feels like to a lot of young people, like there's nothing out there that's worth doing. I can already see it all here, and what I'm seeing isn't great.
Yeah, I think
And that's it.
actually, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say like actually this message that you don't know as much as you think you know is actually a good thing for younger people, because it's saying that it's this like tendency for adventure in young people where they actually want to like discover new things and gain new insights. It's not lost just because the internet's there to give you the information, because as I said before, it's not really like the same thing as experiencing it like directly or understanding it your own way. Um, so yeah, I think that you're onto something there in terms of uh, if you understand the limitations of the internet, you actually gain something back in terms of your life. Whilst now, I think a lot of young people do think that it's all been done and basically it's out there. We can read about it. I always see these movies where back in the days you meet like a professor, not profession, a professor of some subject, and it's all really interesting to you because you're like, oh, well, can you explain this? Or you meet someone who's gone to a country and you're like, oh, what does it look like? Where you have like bits and bobs, as you said, of knowledge. And nowadays, nobody's impressed. It's like, yeah, I saw the picture on the internet. It's like, well, you've been there, but I've seen it as well. So, or it's the same with like, oh yeah, this stuff, but like I can search up the
Yeah, it's sort of
essays on
like
it.
it's a bad imitation of what value really is. It's like sort of this commodified version of what's actually valuable in terms of experiencing, and they're pretending like this is what's really important. And people sort of like it's only supposed to be like it's only supposed to be a indication of where real value is. But a lot of people have started to mistake that the symbol for the actual thing. So they think that the internet and the knowledge you get there is what's actually valuable, and that's all you need.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because obviously there's that saying that was it like the journey is the most important thing, not the destination. But obviously that doesn't really solve it, because I think young people are like, yeah, okay, but like we have the destination, we have the like final product, and you have cut out the journey for us. Right? There is no journey. I can just get to it immediately. And I think what you're saying is Well, you can't really, because if the journey or the process is part of the value of that which is achieved at the end product, right? Then the internet isn't really giving you the end product to begin with, because you're not involved in
It's
the
giving you like a
understanding.
look into the end product, like a symbol of the end product, but not the actual thing.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, like consulting the Oracle at Delphi, or it's giving you some vague, ambiguous idea of what it's supposed to look like. So when you see it, you know that's what it is. Like the prophecies, right? When you see them, you know that's what it is. But the knowledge it gives you to begin your journey is not actually the final thing, obviously, right?
I did have a thought when you were talking about how the internet makes people think they know everything, or that there's not anything to go out and learn. I think it also can play a role in people feeling like there's not their accomplishments or the things that they do are not worth. It devalues the worth of the things that they do because there is this like, oh yeah, I did this, but out there on the internet, somebody's already done this, right? Everything it seems like has been done. So when you actually do something or reach an achievement, you can instantly compare yourself to thousands and thousands of other people that have done something more, gone a step further. And it's very hard. You hear this all the time. Don't compare yourself to others, but compare yourself to yourself, right? Measure your accomplishments not by what others have done, but what you have done. But that's incredibly difficult when you have access to what everybody else has done en masse.
But the thing is, then what everyone else has done, it's all like always exaggerations, aggrandizations. It's always like they're trying to present like. Actually, this got me. The Northern Lights were in Edinburgh recently, and I was annoyed I didn't get to see them recently. And
I didn't see them either.
I saw all these crazy pictures of people who had seen them, and there was like all the green lights and purple lights, and I was like, whoa, that was actually there, and I missed it. I was very annoyed. Then I found out that actually, you can't actually, even in Edinburgh, people who did see it, you didn't actually see those pictures. With the naked eye, you could only see like wisps or maybe a little bit. And with the phone camera, you actually get it a lot better. So these people are basically. When I realized that, I was annoyed because like everyone here is like trying to. They literally, when I speak to them, they're pretending like they saw that. It's like, no, you didn't actually see that, And these people, they don't actually wanted to see the Northern Lights. They just want to tell other people that they saw the Northern Lights. And
Yeah, I think also. Well, I was gonna actually say something and then I changed my mind because I was gonna say there's obviously this thing where with the internet is on one side it's what you said about meaningless because it's showing you like the scope of the world and then you're kind of like, well, I'm kind of irrelevant. But then at the same time, I was thinking, well, maybe the beneficial idea here is that it's showing you different perspectives, and I think that is beneficial. But at the same time, the internet's not trying to do that. It seems like that's like coincidental or like accidental because in reality the internet is trying to give you only what you want, supposedly, right? And how many people actually go outside of their field of vision, again, like we were talking about with the journalism to do with like Eastern Europe or other countries? But it's the same thing with philosophical ideas. It's like how many people actually go out of their way to search up all that information that's contrary to the viewpoint? Probably no one, right? Or very few people, right? Most people, the internet is just giving them what they supposedly want to see. So even there, it goes back to your point about it's giving you something that's actually fake. It's an imitation. It's like, yes, it's giving you all the knowledge, but it's not giving you all the knowledge because it's only giving you the knowledge that you already know, basically, and it's just like advancing on that, but it's not going to give you any more.
But yeah, the even scarier thing you're saying is like you're saying with the internet, it like marks with the algorithms, they give you what you want. But even more scary about that is that they form what you want. They make you think that you want this, in reality you don't.
Well, yeah. Well, the biggest thing that makes you think you want is the fake product.
Yeah.
Right? It's the imitation of that knowledge. And that's also interesting that the reason that doesn't happen in real life is because you just fail if you've got a wrong perception of things, right? Or you come across another person who's got a different worldview from you, and then you actually have to deal with that person because that person is an actual concrete, intelligent human being in front of you who's going to talk to you, and that's going to have actual repercussions. Also, with the internet, obviously, a lot of people have made this point about like Twitter, and it's like it's inflammatory and it's trying to get you to just say whatever you think, and then it shows you all the stuff that's like against your worldview, so you get like really angry. But it's interesting how again it's pretending like, oh, you're discussing with people, but you're not really. It's simulating the reality of it, but it's
Yeah,
not.
it's not
Yeah, you're not actually engaging with them because I mean, what is it, like a sent? How many characters was on Twitter? Like, it's just a right. So it's just like a sentence. Like you're not getting anything. You're not interacting with the perspective of that other person the same way as when you're sitting across from them.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Well,
not.
I can even see how this goes into like relationships and things because you know how they have all of these. Have you noticed how like the theme of the dating apps have become more and more specific? Like you see all these ads, and it's like, oh, this is the dating app or the meetup group for people that are, have this property, and this property, and like,
Mm.
you can. And it's like advertised. You can find somebody that has all of these things that are exactly like you. Or like even the normal things like Tinder, right? You have the very long list of like, things. And people generally look for the person that matches with uh, their interest, their political ideology, their values, whatever, right? So even when you meet these people in real life, you're not really interacting with, people that have on a wide spectrum of different viewpoints of you. You're really even just getting the people, or if you wanted to, you could really just get the people that all have the same opinions and values as you.
Well, yeah, the thing with dating apps, I've always thought as well, it's like people, I mean, get very, very selective in dating apps. Like you'll only swipe if it's like meets this and this criteria specifically. But I think that does a disservice to general dating because like in the real world, you're going to be much, much less selective. Some person can be, have none of the things you want, but he's you just click in the moment, and that's what gets you to go. It's sort of it's more volatile. There's more adventure to it. Whereas in the dating app again, it's like comforted and like commodified for it to be just like everything has to be all squeaky clean.
I think it goes again back to that point that it's presenting you with a fake thing because it's saying that, oh, now you have more autonomy, you have more choice. Because the idea is that without the internet, well, you just get what you get, right? You don't choose the people you meet, right? So your friends and your partners, like all those things are, in a sense, not your choice. Obviously, they're your choice in another sense, but I mean, like you don't. At the end of the day, you don't really choose to meet them, right? You just do.
Right.
With
It's
the
trying to like
internet,
control
yeah,
all
with
of
the
this,
internet, it's presenting you the idea that, oh, you get everybody on the planet, right? Again, approximate, but like you get everybody, right? So you get your own choice. You get to select how exactly you want them to be. And obviously, some people have complained about that life is about spontaneity. But I think that's only the surface thing. The main thing is that it's trying to say you something that's not true. It's trying to tell you that it's your choice and you have the pick. But again, like what you just said, it's not your choice. It's actually choosing for you. So the app is already doing something that's different from what you would do in real life.
Exactly, setting like a framework for how you should act, which you then internalize by using the app.
Right, and it's not your framework.
Yeah, it's not.
So it's as if it's like, oh, you have a lot of choice, but actually you're only going to do it the way we want you to do it.
Yeah.
So how does this tie back to hikikomori?
Yeah, we got a little bit digressed
in lots of ways.
Yeah. Well, it's internet. We're entering a pretty
digital
terrifying age. Yeah. I mean, I always think it's crazy. Like when we were kids, we still had like video cassettes going on. Now already in just 20 years, this stuff has changed like so much. Our lifetimes are going to be incredibly interesting. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, that's a good word. Interesting. Very neutral.
Very neutral. Terrifying, I would use. All right. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah. I was gonna say just one more thing. Yeah, of the stuff we were talking about with the simulation and the copies of all this, I haven't read it, but this is reminds me a lot of Jean Baudrillard. It seems like it, simulacra and simulation. So yeah, we should both read that.
And me.
Yeah, I mean you too. Yes.
What's the book name again?
Simulacra and simulation.
All right.
And simulacra just means like imitation and copy, that kind of thing. And he basically talks about how the commodification of value and sort of false. Yeah.
Cool.
All
Philip,
right.
any last words?
No, I think we covered everything.
just in general, you want any farewell? Any last things?
Well, you've put me on the spot now. I don't know what to say. Yeah, well, it's been a pleasure being on your podcast.
Yeah,
I
it's-
guess
it's
that's
No,
the
no,
only
no. Well,
thing.
you guys will come. This is not the final time.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe for a while,
For a
but-
while, for a while
yeah.
at least.
All right. Well, anyway, thanks for listening. Hope you hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 300. We're like 5 away, so that's exciting. Yeah, and thank you both. It's been a pleasure. And thank you, Geography Building in Edinburgh, because this has kind of been the third home for me, besides the main library at my flat here. So, yeah, hasta la vista, baby.
Okay.
Yeah,
Edit
thanks.
that out.
No, keep that in. Keep that in as a
See you
start
next
laugh.
time. Bye-bye.
No, you're keeping that in.